Well, now there's a bunch of stuff coming in, but there was one thing that I was kind of looking into that broke. I think it was this morning. Was that Deshaun Watson's contract with the Browns is changing somewhat. The Browns have restructured Watson's massive contract prior to the legal tampering window opening Monday at noon. It was expected to give executive VP of football ops and GM Andrew Berry the ability to fill needed holes in the offseason by converting most of Watson's $46 million salary to a signing bonus. The Browns create nearly $36 million in salary cap space, turning a $13.5 million overage into approximately $20 million in cap room for the 2023 season. Now, obviously, this is a very interesting move. Now, Watson, isn't coming off his best season, coming off of 2 years of layoff. A lot of public pressure going on, and everything that's been happening. I keep hitting the mic the last few episodes, but with Watson coming off of this year and the Browns seemingly kind of working around some of his money to ensure that they can work the roster around him. I mean, it seems like an obvious good move for the Browns, but what moves they need to make with that restructuring in order to bolster the offense or just the team in general around their QB?
I think that any Browns fan, Mitch, you and I included, we know where some of our strengths are and where our weaknesses are. And I think you first have to figure out what you want to address where, right? Obviously, freeing up $36 million in cap space is huge because now, if you want to, you can go sign one free agent for a lot of money of a big name, or you could sign a few free agents using all that money. And then if you're going to do that with the defense, maybe look for wide receiver help in the draft or vice versa. I think we all agreed the Browns need to find another wide receiver, a speedster on the outside to complement Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones. We know that was supposed to be Anthony Schwartz. Obviously, it has not been the turnout that us Browns fans were hoping. I think the Browns are going to go for proven help on the defensive line and possibly at safety, Mitch, because I think that's the one that is not only the most vital because you have a top and elite edge rusher in Myles Garrett, but we also saw last year that when the quarterback had time to throw in the pocket, he was able to pick apart our secondary that I think is very, very solid. Now, could that have been the defense we were running? Sure. That is obviously a legitimate argument to be made. But at the same time, Mitch, there's already been rumors of certain players the Browns are interested. One of a Cleveland product, an Ohio State product, Draymond Jones, that is a free agent from the Denver Broncos that I know a lot of people are high on. But I would hope the Browns take this money and go out and get 2 or 3 big signings. I'm not saying for long deals at all. I'm saying they need to get 2 or 3 proven guys or guys with high energy, high motors to be able to stick on the defensive line and or at safety, obviously, with the Browns getting rid of John Johnson III. I think the Browns now, with that money freed up with the restructure of Deshaun Watson's cap hit in his contract, are in a very, very good spot. And it also depends on what other moves are made around the NFL, Mitch, which I know we're going to get in here too. But now just coming across my feed is a star player now requesting permission to seek a trade in the NFL. So these type of things always can end up shaking out differently because if a player's unhappy, Mitch, it means he could potentially be available. Now, I'm not talking about us being interested in this star player that just requested a trade or asked permission to look for a trade, but the domino effects of that, if a team goes for a player of a high magnitude that also is looking to go after defensive players, or maybe now they have to cut veteran defensive players, that is the nice spot you're in where you pretty much have your roster intact. You know, you have to address really 3 needs on your team.
Indeed, and I like how when you restructure Watson's contract, it basically just puts in a concentrated 3-year stretch where Watson's going to be making nearly $64 million per season from 2024 all the way to 2026. And then you have a voidable year in 2027. It's only around $9 million. This year, it's going to be just over 19 mil. Without the restructuring this year, it would have been 55 million. So they kind of get to break it down a little bit there. But you said it. They have major holes in the defensive line. They need to get some speed and experience to the wide receiver core. Amari Cooper, I don't know if he can be your number one. He can be a number one, but I don't think if in this case you need him to always be the number one. That's always getting double coverage. That's always the one that's on focus. And I don't know where they're going to go in free agency. I can't imagine it being via brokering a deal to go for DeAndre Hopkins in Arizona. That seems very kind of like out of left field. I also think it's out of left field for them to re-sign Odell Beckham, who had a workout this past weekend in Arizona. multiple teams were there, including Cleveland. Listen. Before you roll your eyes, Mitch, I'm not saying that it's likely going to happen. There was a report from Sports Illustrated today who I said that said he's unlikely to sign with the Browns per source. I believe that was Noah Weisskopf who wrote that. But it's an interesting thought because it's a different team from what you saw in the Baker Mayfield era, and we'll get to Baker in a second. But it that's such a hard way to reunite, especially with the way you guys broke up in the first place. So again, I can't imagine that happening, but who knows?
That she never wanted to be here in the first place. I don't think there's any shot the Browns would even think about reuniting him. Yes, obviously the quarterback situation is different, but let's also remember this is
Yes,
somebody that had Jay Glazer on his side with the whole "come get me" reports. There was news that broke recently that he kind of wanted Jay Glazer to try to help facilitate a trade as soon as he got to Cleveland. Whether that is true or not, the fact that it's even out there is concerning. There's also the whole article of Von Miller telling whatever media it was that Odell Beckham told him not to come to Cleveland. You don't want a guy like that. And also, everybody that's glorifying his workout tape that got, released this weekend. He was making catches against no defenders with one hand in shorts and a cutoff or no shirt at all.
but he's a lot
Okay.
more. But he's a lot more muscular.
Really? Shoot. Okay. Never mind then.
He
Yeah, we
said
got to get that because nothing has ever gone wrong when you see a player at a pro day or a workout throwing against air and nobody on defense in shorts. Nothing's ever gone wrong, right? Like Zach Wilson, right? He's a
nothing.
great quarterback that
Never.
did phenomenal in his pro day, and the Jets love him now. That's their quarterback of the future, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They love him so much that they might even be trying to broker a deal for Aaron Rodgers here. And I think we might have talked about in the last episode